You've just hatched in the rainforests of South America, and you're about to live one of the most dangerous childhoods on Earth. You're a tarantula, and the odds of you surviving to adulthood? Less than 1 in 1,000. But here's what most people get completely wrong about these misunderstood giants. They're not aggressive monsters lurking in the shadows. They're actually incredibly cautious survivors, navigating a world where almost everything wants to eat them. And the journey you're about to experience will completely change how you see these 8-legged architects of the forest floor. Let me take you inside the life of a creature that's been perfecting its survival strategy for over 300 million years, long before dinosaurs ever walked the earth. This is the true story of what it takes to become one of nature's most remarkable predators, and trust me, the reality is far more fascinating than any horror movie could ever imagine. You break free from your egg sac in complete darkness. You're blind, barely the size of a grain of rice, and surrounded by hundreds of your siblings doing exactly the same thing. Your mother left weeks ago after carefully wrapping your eggs in layers of protective silk, and she's never coming back. This might sound cruel, but it's actually a brilliant survival strategy that scientists discovered only recently. By abandoning the egg sac, she removes her own scent from the area, making it harder for predators to locate her babies. It's one of nature's most effective forms of protection through absence. Your first few hours are critical. Your exoskeleton is soft, your legs barely coordinated, but you instinctively know to climb upward on the silk webbing your mother constructed. This isn't random movement. Research published in 2025 from the Amazon Rainforest Research Institute revealed that newborn tarantulas can detect subtle temperature gradients in the silk, guiding them toward the edges of the web where they're less likely to encounter siblings. Why does this matter? Because here's where the story gets dark. Your siblings are your first predators. Tarantula cannibalism isn't accidental. It's programmed into their DNA as a harsh but effective population control mechanism. Within the first 72 hours, nearly 60% of hatchlings will be eaten by their own brothers and sisters. The larger, faster-developing spiderlings actively hunt the smaller ones, and you're somewhere in the middle of the size range. You feel vibrations through the silk as a larger sibling approaches from above. It's already had its first meal, another sibling, which gave it the energy boost to grow faster than you. The larger spiderling climbs onto your back, and you feel its fangs pierce your rear leg. But here's something incredible that scientists only confirmed in 2024. Even at this microscopic size, tarantulas have a sophisticated escape response. Your nervous system floods with a chemical signal that makes you twist violently and kick with all 7 remaining legs. The attacker loses its grip, and you do something that seems impossible for a creature less than 3 days old. You produce silk from your spinnerets and rappel down off the web like a tiny special forces operative, dropping into the leaf litter below. You've just made the most dangerous decision of your young life. The forest floor is a killing field for something your size. But staying on that web meant certain death. So your instincts chose the option with slightly better odds. If you're enjoying this journey into the secret life of tarantulas, do me a favor and hit that like button. It helps more people discover just how amazing these creatures really are. And stick around, because what happens next will blow your mind. You land on a decomposing leaf, and your world explodes with sensory information. Tarantulas don't see the world like we do. Your 8 eyes can barely detect light and shadow. But your legs are covered in thousands of specialized hairs called trichobothria that can sense air currents from a fly's wings up to 2 inches away. You're essentially navigating by feeling the air itself move around you. This is how you detect the tiny fruit fly resting on a stem nearby. You're starving. Your body is consuming its own reserves, and you have maybe 24 hours before you're too weak to hunt. You move toward the fly with agonizing slowness, but your legs are still uncoordinated. You're timing off by just a fraction of a second. The fly takes off before you can strike. For a human, this would be like missing a meal. For you, it might be fatal. You crawl under a curled brown leaf to rest, and that's when you hear it. A sound like thunder to your hypersensitive hairs. A tarantula hawk wasp, one of your species' most terrifying predators, lands nearby. Here's something that will surprise you. These wasps have been hunting tarantulas for over 40 million years, and they've developed a hunting strategy so effective that it sounds like science fiction. The wasp drags its stinger across the ground in a systematic search pattern, detecting the microscopic vibrations that spiders make when they breathe. Yes, breathe. Tarantulas breathe through book lungs on their abdomen, and the slight movement this creates is enough for a wasp to locate them. You stay absolutely motionless under your leaf. Your metabolic rate drops automatically, reducing your oxygen needs and making you nearly invisible to the wasp's detection system. This involuntary freeze response is so effective that researchers studying tarantula behavior often lose track of individuals they're observing because the spiders become completely still. After what feels like an eternity, the wasp lifts off and disappears. You've survived your first encounter with your species' apex predator, but it won't be your last. Most people have this completely wrong about tarantulas. They think these spiders are aggressive hunters that chase down prey. The truth is almost the opposite. You're an ambush predator with a metabolism so slow that you might only need to eat once every 2 weeks as an adult. But right now, as a juvenile, you need food desperately. You spot a tiny cricket, and this time, your strike needs to be perfect. You approach from the cricket's blind spot, moving so slowly that it takes you nearly 10 minutes to cover 2 inches. Then, you lunge. Your fangs, still soft and barely developed, sink into the cricket's body. But here's where tarantula venom becomes fascinating. You're not injecting a simple poison. Your venom is a complex cocktail of over 100 different compounds, including digestive enzymes that begin liquefying the cricket's insides while it's still alive. Scientists discovered in 2025 that tarantula venom also contains powerful antimicrobial agents that prevent the prey from rotting before the spider finishes feeding, essentially preserving the meal like a natural refrigerator. The cricket tries to kick free, and for a moment, you think you'll lose it. But your venom works fast, and within 90 seconds, the cricket's struggles cease. You've made your first kill. You drag it under a log and begin the feeding process, which is nothing like how mammals eat. You inject more digestive enzymes and literally drink your prey from the inside out, leaving only a dried husk behind. But your victory celebration is cut short. You detect vibrations through the log, thousands of them moving in perfect synchronization. Army ants. A colony on the march can contain over 1 million individuals, and they'll eat anything that can't escape fast enough, including young tarantulas. You abandon your meal and run, climbing up and over the log, then wedging yourself into a gap between 2 roots where the ants can't follow. You've just learned one of the most important lessons of tarantula survival. Sometimes the smartest thing a predator can do is run away. And this lesson will save your life more times than you can count. 6 months pass and you've molted 3 times, each molt leaving you temporarily vulnerable but progressively larger. You're now about the size of a quarter, and your instincts are telling you something new. You need a home. Not just any hiding spot, but a permanent burrow that you'll defend and maintain for years. This is where tarantula engineering becomes absolutely mind-blowing. You select a spot beneath a fallen tree where the soil is soft but stable. Using your fangs as excavation tools, you begin digging. But here's what scientists only recently discovered. Tarantulas don't dig randomly. They create burrows with specific architectural features that regulate temperature and humidity to within 2 degrees and 5% respectively. Your burrow will stay cool during the day and warm at night, creating a microclimate that's perfect for your survival. The digging takes hours. You scoop out soil with your front legs, piling it in a ring around the entrance. This ring isn't just waste material. It's a defensive wall that makes it harder for predators to approach from certain angles. Once the burrow is deep enough to fit your entire body, you line the walls with silk. This silk serves multiple purposes. It prevents cave-ins, it helps you detect vibrations from above, and it contains your unique chemical signature that marks this territory as yours. But here's where the story gets even stranger. Another juvenile tarantula, roughly your size, approaches your burrow entrance. In the tarantula world, real estate is everything, and this intruder is looking to take your home rather than build its own. What happens next is a ritualized combat that looks like something from a martial arts movie. You rush out and rear up on your back, 4 legs, front legs and fangs raised in a threat display. The intruder mirrors your posture. You're both trying to look as large and dangerous as possible, hoping the other will back down without actual fighting. But this intruder is desperate, and it lunges forward. You meet its attack and lock fangs, grappling like tiny wrestlers. Your fangs find purchase on one of its legs, and you bite down hard. The intruder pulls back violently, and its leg tears away, leaking hemolymph, the spider equivalent of blood. The injured spider retreats into the leaf litter. It will survive. Tarantulas can regenerate lost legs over several molts. But it's learned an important lesson. Your burrow is not up for grabs. You return inside and begin the next phase of construction, laying trip lines. These silk lines are sensory masterpieces. You anchor them to leaves, twigs, and roots in a radial pattern around your entrance, creating an early warning system that can detect prey or predators from up to 6 inches away. When something touches a line, the vibration travels through the silk and into your burrow, telling you exactly where the disturbance occurred and roughly how large the creature is. You're essentially building a spider web, but instead of catching prey in mid-air, you're monitoring ground traffic. A beetle crawls over one of your lines, and you explode from your burrow with a speed that would make a human Olympic sprinter jealous. Pound for pound, tarantulas are among the fastest accelerating animals on Earth, going from 0 to full sprint in less than 1/10 of a second. You grab the beetle and drag it underground. Your burrow is now complete, and you're ready for the next phase of your life. But something is watching your burrow, something that's been hunting your species for millions of years, and it's about to come back. 1 year old now, and you're sitting at your burrow entrance during the golden hour of dusk when you hear it, the distinctive buzz of orange wings. A tarantula hawk wasp lands nearby, and your entire body floods with fear chemicals. These wasps are so feared by tarantulas that scientists have documented spiders abandoning burrows they've maintained for years just to escape a persistent wasp. Here's why these wasps are so terrifying. They don't want to eat you. They want something worse. Female tarantula hawk wasps hunt spiders to serve as living incubators for their eggs. If this wasp stings you successfully, she'll paralyze you, drag you into your own burrow, lay a single egg on your abdomen, and seal you inside. When the egg hatches, the larva will eat you alive over the course of several weeks, carefully avoiding your vital organs to keep you fresh as long as possible. It's one of nature's most horrifying reproductive strategies. The wasp walks toward your burrow entrance, its antenna twitching. You make a split-second decision and retreat inside, but the wasp follows. This is it. You're trapped in your own home with a predator that specifically evolved to kill creatures like you. But you have one defense that's so effective, it's been copied by evolution in dozens of other species. You turn around and rapidly kick your back legs against your abdomen, releasing a cloud of urticating hairs. These aren't ordinary hairs. Under a microscope, they look like tiny harpoons covered in backward-facing barbs. When they contact the wasp's eyes and respiratory system, they cause immediate, intense irritation. The wasp stops its attack and begins frantically rubbing its face with its front legs, trying to dislodge the hairs. You don't waste this opportunity. You rush past the distracted wasp and bolt from your burrow, running across the forest floor faster than you've ever moved before. But the wasp recovers quickly and takes flight, landing on your back before you can find cover. You feel the stinger pierce your leg, and a cold numbness begins spreading from the injection site. But here's something incredible that researchers discovered just last year. Tarantula hawk venom is precisely calibrated to paralyze spiders, but the dosage matters. A sting to a leg might only cause temporary paralysis, giving you a chance to escape. A sting to your cephalothorax, the main body segment, would mean permanent paralysis and certain death. The wasp's sting was poorly placed, and you managed to kick hard enough to dislodge it. The wasp flies away, possibly satisfied that it's marked you and can return later, or perhaps deterred by your urticating hairs. You find shelter under a root and wait for the venom to wear off. 6 hours later, sensation returns to your leg. You'll return to your burrow tomorrow and repair the entrance, adding extra silk barriers that might slow down a future wasp attack. You've survived one of the deadliest encounters a tarantula can face, but you know it won't be the last time you see those orange wings. 2 years old, and you're now large enough to take on prey that would have killed you as a juvenile. You're hunting away from your burrow when you detect vibrations that don't match any prey you've encountered before. Moving toward the source, you find a small snake, barely 8 inches long, coiled next to a rotting log. Now, most people think tarantulas only eat insects. That's completely wrong. Large tarantulas are opportunistic predators that will take on vertebrate prey when the opportunity arises. Scientists have documented tarantulas eating frogs, lizards, small birds, and yes, even snakes. Your species, likely a Goliath bird-eater or similar large ground-dwelling tarantula, is one of the few spiders on Earth capable of killing a snake. You circle the snake, approaching from its blind spot. Snakes have excellent vision in front, but their peripheral vision is limited. You move with incredible patience, taking nearly 15 minutes to position yourself behind its head. Then you strike, sinking your fangs into the snake just behind its skull, the one location where your venom can reach its nervous system quickly. The snake's response is immediate and violent. It wraps its body around your legs, trying to constrict you like it would a rodent. But here's where tarantula anatomy becomes crucial. Your exoskeleton is incredibly strong for its weight, and your legs can withstand significant pressure. You hold on, pumping venom into the snake while it squeezes you. It's a battle of who gives out first, your venom or the snake's strength. After what feels like an eternity, but is probably only 30 seconds, the snake's coils begin to loosen. Your venom is shutting down its nervous system, and its movements become uncoordinated. You maintain your grip until the snake goes completely limp. Then you begin the feeding process. But you've made a critical mistake. The commotion of your battle attracted attention. A coati, a raccoon-like mammal native to Central and South America, pushes through the undergrowth. Coatis are omnivores with a particular fondness for insects and spiders. It's far too large for you to fight, and it's moving directly toward you. You release the snake and back away slowly, trying not to trigger the coati's prey drive with sudden movement. The coati sniffs around the area, finds your snake, and picks it up with its teeth. It walks away with your hard-won meal, completely unaware of how close it came to stepping on a spider that could have given it a very painful bite. You return to your burrow empty-handed, but you've learned another valuable lesson. In nature, size matters. No matter how skilled a predator you become, there will always be something bigger that can take what's yours. This is the reality of life in the rainforest food chain. 4 years old, and something changes inside you. For the first time in your life, your instincts are telling you to leave your territory and search for something you've never sought before. A mate. If you're male, this urge is so powerful that you'll abandon the burrow you've maintained for years and begin wandering, sometimes traveling over a mile in search of females. This journey is incredibly dangerous because you're exposing yourself to predators without the safety of your burrow. But the drive to reproduce overrides your caution. You pick up chemical signals left behind by a female, pheromones she's deposited on the ground as she moved through her territory. You follow this scent trail for over an hour, navigating through unfamiliar terrain. Finally, you find her burrow. She's sitting at the entrance and she's significantly larger than you. This size difference is crucial because female tarantulas are notorious for eating males after mating, or sometimes even before if the male approaches incorrectly. What happens next is one of the most delicate and dangerous courtship rituals in the animal kingdom. You begin tapping your front legs on the ground in a specific rhythm. This isn't random drumming. It's a species-specific pattern that identifies you as a potential mate rather than prey. The female responds by rushing forward with her fangs open, and you back away quickly. This is a test. She's checking if you're fast enough and alert enough to be worth mating with. You try again, approaching more slowly this time, maintaining the tapping rhythm with each step. When you get close enough, you reach out and gently tap her front legs. She stays still, which is the signal you've been hoping for. You climb onto her back, and the mating process happens quickly. Your pedipalps, specialized appendages near your mouth, transfer sperm to her reproductive opening in a process that takes only a few seconds. But here's where your survival instincts need to be perfect. The moment mating is complete, you need to dismount and retreat as quickly as possible. The female's predatory instincts return immediately, and she sees you not as a mate, but as a meal. You jump backward and run, and she gives chase. Her larger size gives her a longer stride, and she's gaining on you. You release a cloud of urticating hairs as you run, creating a barrier between you and her. The hairs hit her face, and she stops to clear them, giving you the precious seconds you need to escape. You run until her territory is far behind you, then collapse under a fallen log, exhausted but alive. You've successfully mated, which means your genetic legacy will continue. But for male tarantulas, this is often the beginning of the end. Males typically only live a few months after reaching sexual maturity, their bodies deteriorating rapidly after their reproductive mission is complete. Females, on the other hand, can live for 20 to 30 years, producing multiple egg sacs over their lifetime. If you're female, your story continues very differently. After mating, you'll return to your burrow and begin the process of creating an egg sac, carefully wrapping hundreds of eggs in layers of silk. You'll guard this sac for several weeks, rotating it regularly to ensure even development. Then, one day, you'll leave the SAC behind and never return, just as your mother did, starting the cycle all over again. Before we wrap up, I want to share something that might surprise you. Tarantulas are facing serious conservation challenges in 2025. Habitat loss, the illegal pet trade, and climate change are all putting pressure on wild populations. The very rainforests where your story takes place are shrinking at an alarming rate. But here's the good news. Conservation efforts are making a difference. Protected reserves in countries like Brazil, Ecuador, and Peru are providing safe havens for tarantulas and countless other species. Organizations like the Amazon Conservation Association are working with local communities to protect these ecosystems, and their efforts are paying off. In some areas, tarantula populations that were declining just 5 years ago are now stable or even increasing. But they need our support. By learning about and appreciating creatures like tarantulas, we become advocates for their protection. Here's something else that's changed recently. Attitudes toward tarantulas are shifting. For decades, these spiders were portrayed as monsters in movies and media, leading to widespread fear and misunderstanding. But thanks to wildlife educators, researchers, and yes, even YouTube channels like this one, more people are discovering the truth about tarantulas. They're not aggressive. They're not dangerous to humans unless severely provoked. They're actually shy, fascinating creatures that play crucial roles in their ecosystems by controlling insect populations and serving as prey for larger animals. The venom that seemed so terrifying when we talked about hunting. For humans, most tarantula bites are less painful than a bee sting. The urticating hairs are a far more effective defense, and even those cause only temporary irritation in most cases. There has never been a confirmed human death from a tarantula bite. Never. Not one. Yet these animals are killed out of fear every single day. If you've made it this far in the video, you're part of the solution. You're someone who chose curiosity over fear, education over ignorance, and that matters more than you might think. So here's what I'm asking. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Every video we create is designed to change how you see the natural world, one amazing animal at a time. Drop a comment and tell me, did this video change how you think about tarantulas? What animal should we cover next? Let me leave you with one final thought. That tiny spiderling that hatched at the beginning of our story, the one with less than a 1 in 1,000 chance of survival, represents something profound. Every tarantula you see in the wild is a winner of the most brutal lottery imaginable. They've survived predators, starvation, disease, parasites, and countless other threats that killed their siblings. They're not just survivors. They're champions of evolution, carrying forward a genetic legacy that stretches back hundreds of millions of years. The next time you see a tarantula, whether in the wild or in a nature documentary, I hope you'll remember this journey. You'll remember the hatchling rappelling from the web on a thread of silk, the juvenile defending its burrow against an intruder, the adult escaping from a tarantula hawk wasp by the thinnest of margins. And maybe, just maybe, you'll feel what I feel when I look at these incredible creatures. Not fear, but wonder. Not disgust, but respect. Because these eight-legged architects of the forest floor have earned both. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the secret life of tarantulas. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and never stop being curious about the amazing world we share with millions of other species. This planet is far more interesting than we ever imagined, and there are countless more stories waiting to be told.